So what's the Buddhist perspective on working with children to understand and regulate their emotions?
You want to have a traditional Buddhist perspective or a personal one?
I mean, your choice. Personal sounds quite interesting.
I mean, generally speaking, Buddhism is quite, is quite a sophisticated system, which is not easy to put into practice. Even when His Holiness came for the first time to India and met Pandit Nehru, then Pandit Nehru made a comment: Buddhism is a very, very interesting form of way of life, but it's one of the most difficult ones to put into practice. So this is probably true, because we have very strong habituations with emotions, and it's not easy to change the mind, right? So, but it's possible. And especially with children, as Ceci is just indicating, you have to do it a very playful way. Yeah. So once, just recently, I had to give a talk to Tibetan youth, and they were a bit older than 3 though, but they're in the category of, I think, 6 till 16, something like that. So then you have to be very playful in ask them the question: what is happiness? What disturbs the mind? And you have to give them a personal first-hand experience that they can relate to, rather than terminology of anger and its definition, right? So that is one aspect. And other aspects, I think, breathing or yoga kind of practices helps a lot, especially for very young children, because if you talk about 6, 7, 8, 9 years, then you have to have something very practical and something they get first-hand experience, right? So if you do some yoga with them or some breathing exercise, they see, oh, I'm much calmer now, or I can concentrate much better in class, right? So we see that in different types of research of what has been done here in the UK with yoga in secondary schools, for example, right? So that means that it helps the children straight away get a first-hand experience of the mind, right? So they can see a distinction between when I'm very agitated, or when I get very uptight with my friends, or when I just at peace and do some breathing. And then they learn about the different kind of patterns in the mind. And then that's the first step of this, what we call then self-awareness or recognition, as Cecile indicates, right? So that's the first step. And then in a playful way, probably you just have to explain that, how does it feel, anger, right? So they have to get a first-hand experience, and then you can move a step further and say, okay, you see, it's not always present. It changes, it comes and goes, and then in a playful way, you have to learn, or they have to learn basically of this recognition of states of mind they like to acquire, like peace of mind, and the states of mind they don't like to be in, like these kind of destructive aspects of anxiety or fear or kind of forms of anger, for example. Yoga is not really part of Buddhist philosophy, as you know, but it's kind of a skillful means, right, to help beings to become more aware, or breathing exercises, and then walk with them in a very playful way.